Hi, thanks for tuning to another episode of The Spiritual Scientist. I'm Victor. Thanks for checking me out. So, I thought I'd talk about treasure, right? Just felt like talking about a quick story that right before I did this video, thought about what I talk about and just came to mind. So, I was in Cape Cod with my family, and I was with my family, and my son has a metal detector, and he wanted to go and find some treasure in the sand. It was a beautiful day, and I said a prayer. I said, God, let him help him find the treasure, which is neat. So he went out and didn't really get anything. He got a couple of pennies and a quarter. I think it all told we counted up like he was doing all day, but he enjoyed it. So he counted up like $1.51 or something like that. And one of the things he found was this a ring with little humps on it and a cross on it. So I was like, huh. I didn't know what that was. And we asked, someone asked the lifeguard, and they said that was it was something that the nuns brought down and they threw in the ocean for the departed souls that actually lost their lives at sea. They said a prayer and they threw it in the water. So that didn't really sound right to me. But I went and said, huh. But my son said, should we keep it or should we throw it back in the water? I said, no, keep it. I think we should keep it. It has a cross on it. It's very pretty. It's just a little thing. It's yay big, little thing. And it fit on the thumb nicely. And, I brought it home. And then one day I came across it again, just in our stuff. Not that long ago. It happened maybe 5 months ago. And a few months ago, I got it again. And I Googled it. Just kept Googling images, And I ended up finding out that it was it's for prayers. So, like Holy Rosary, it's a thumb rosary. So, you put it on your thumb, and you count the prayers when you spin it. You don't really need to spin it, but slowly spin it. And it has 10 prayers. So, you do 10 Hail Marys, and then you do an Our Father, which is pretty neat. And I didn't think about it at the time till about right before this video. I thought, boy, I prayed for a treasure, and the treasure was like to pray. So it was kind of neat. So I just thought I'd share it. So this I'm wearing are some beads, and you could get a rosary in meditation. Each one of these is like you could say a meditation. So it'd be Om. One is a mantra. So you could say Om Mani Padme Hum. And the idea behind it is that you would do your meditation and you concentrate on that meditation. And boy, that was powerful. It just seemed powerful when I just did that. Pretty neat. But when you go through and you do each one, you keep going and going. And then when you get to the idea is when you get to a break at the end, then you do a different one. And that's how you count off how many you did. So you just basically go, Om Mani Padme Hum. And then you go to the next one, Om Mani Padme Hum. And you keep going. And it feeds through. And then you go through all of them. And at the end, you basically know you did a set. And you count off the beads so you know how many you did. Now, a Benedictine monk who ended up being the Pope came up with the rosary beads. They said he invented it. He didn't really invent it because this is like, it could be invented it, but this is, the beads and the idea of doing it is 10,000 years plus old. So, but who knows, right? So you go through and you do these prayers, and or meditation. So actually, I recommend doing both, prayer and meditation. So I thought I'd talk about that a bit because it was the treasure. And something neat that Jesus said is Matthew 6:19-20. I'm going to read from it. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasure in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. So, how do we store those treasures in heaven? One way is through prayer, one way is through meditation, and I think another way would be to do, good deeds and not run around and tell people, "Hey, I did this. Look at me. I'm so great. I'm such a holy guy. I did this." So that's one way we store our treasures in heaven. We don't, you're God sees everything, right? So you don't need to, run around saying, "Hey, I did this. Hey, I did that." It comes back to you, eventually. There was this time when, I would use this as a teaching that I got a big tip from somebody, and ended up being $500, and I just felt like I didn't need the money at the time. I know it sounds crazy, but I just wanted to give it to a donation or something. I just had extra money for once, and I had $500 burning a hole in my pocket, as it were. So I had an envelope at home, and I went to church, and they were talking about giving alms and everything. It was a whole sermon. So I said a prayer. I said, totally true story. And I said, and I'm just using this as an example. And I said, "God, I have this extra $500. If anybody needs the $500, I'll give it to them." And I went to church, and I was doing that at church. And I ended up being a Eucharistic minister at that sermon, and I ended up cleaning up afterwards the chalice and everything. So I stayed after Mass, and I was opening the doors to leave, and a woman came in with a little baby, all distraught, and she knocked on the church doors. She didn't go to that church. She was from another town. Hispanic lady, real small, and she was dragging her whole family. She had a little baby, and she said, she said, "I need to talk to the priest." I said, "Well, what would you like? What do you need to see the priest about?" He said, I need money for my rent." So I said, "What do you need the money for the rent for? I mean, how much money do you need?" She said, $500. So I was like, kind of almost laughing to myself, because I'm like, "You're the one. God just sent you, and I'm going to give you the $500. But, I played it off. So I said, I knew how it was going to turn out. So I introduced her to the priest. And, it just goes to show you, right? So the priest said, basically, in essence, he didn't say it this way, but he was like, "Yeah, I'd really love to give you the money, but, times are tough right now, and we don't have it in the coffer. You know how it is. If we gave $500 everybody, what would we have?" So he didn't really say that. What he said, I heard him say something like, "What you could do is apply through this rectory, and they'll get back to you." It was basically just brushing her off, What do you think? The church is handing out money? So I said, "Just wait here." And I rushed home, came right back, and I took her into the rectory part, and just said, "What do you need the money for?" And I tested her a little bit, just to, I was like, "Gosh, $500 is a lot. That'd be a real miracle if someone just handed you $500, $500 is a lot of money." She's like, yes. Well, oh, by the way, here's an envelope with $500. And it was just kind of funny. And she was like, what? I said, just one thing. Don't tell anybody where you got it. Don't tell me. You never saw me before. Bye. And she left, and she was like crying. And her husband showed up, and she showed me the envelope. I saw as I drove off. Felt good. So, I went home. And this is a lesson. So I went home, and I was feeling good about it. And, sure enough, my wife heard about it. She said, where'd the $500 go? I said, I gave it away. She's like, what? You gave it away? Were you crazy? We need money. I was like, we'll get money. Money comes all the time, She's like, no, I can't believe this. You got $500. We were missing the $500. Whatever you did, and she flipped out. Whatever you did, you have to get back that money. So I said, oh, boy. I said, I already gave it away. Get the money, get money. So I said, okay. So I got on my knees. I said, Lord, I know I stored up that treasure in heaven. I need the money back. So I'm sorry. Whatever good deed I did, I need it reversed. And I need to get the money back because I'm getting yelled at about it. And I just can't take the heat. So I prayed, and then the next day, I went to my job, and this never happens. And this guy came out of the blue. He's like, listen, you did a great job. Here's the tip, $500. So I got $500 again, which never, ever did I do. People in my job don't even tip other people. It's not something that happens. It's a customer service thing, but never. If anybody give you money ever, it'd be like $10, whatever. So somebody totally separate gave me $500. So then I went home and I said, here's the money back. And I gave it to my wife. She was like, where'd you get that from? I said, don't worry about it. You erased my good deed. It's over. I was going to store up my treasure in heaven, but you wanted me to screw it up, so here you go. It's only money, She's like, oh, okay. So she got the $500 basically back. And I lost my treasure that I stored up in heaven, that good deed, got washed out, which sucks. That was the whole purpose of the plan that I did. And that was the prayer, and it was answered. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm just telling you the story as an example about storing treasures in heaven. So you get more back when you give them to others. And I reversed it, which sucks. And I didn't want to, but that's just the way it went down, Anyway, and I wanted to talk about doing prayers and how the real treasure is the ability to pray. And the real treasure that we have is the closeness of being to God, source, universe. I think the higher self is in between, in a way, an intercessor with the Holy Spirit in between. So I'm not going to refer to the higher self as God, but definitely it's helpful. Thank you, my higher self, Holy Spirit. And I think saying prayers is important. I think meditation is important. It's something that we have to not discount. There's so many people out there that never pray and never meditate. Now, in the comments, you might feel drawn to tell me, I meditate every day or I pray every day. That's great. You don't have to comment about it. But if you feel you have to, you have to. I understand. It's the people who don't meditate or don't pray. Meditation will help you in building up your awareness. And how's it do that? Like the Hamsa meditation, which I've talked about ad nauseum. What it does is, and you could go on my website and I have a video on it. If you look in these, you'll see the video. What it does is, you'll concentrate on the Hamsa. You concentrate on one thing long enough, what happens is it builds up your willpower. It also allows you to learn to separate the thoughts. So you'll build up space in between those thoughts. And what we're looking for is the silence in between the thoughts. What you're looking for is being able to control your mind instead of it controlling you. So you can actually have control your mind. Now the mind doesn't want this, so the mind will do anything it can to distract you from doing the meditation. Your mind will do everything it can to distract you from doing the prayer. But when you're praying, you're actually connecting, to God, right? So think of it like, prayer is a gift. So when you're praying, it's like your phone, and you have a phone. I mean, I really don't need to explain this, I feel like, because you know it innately. You know it. But when you take your phone and you have it in airplane mode, right? And then you all of a sudden you turn off airplane mode, and now it's connected to the cloud, right? Same thing with prayer, right? So we take our phones off of airplane mode and we connect to the cloud. So when you connect to the cloud, then you're interfacing with that internet. So it's the same way we have the Akashic records. So we have that internet around the earth. We have those Akashic records that you can interface with, and you can draw any and all the information of mankind is stored. Now what's happened is all the screw up with everybody's screwing with the electromagnetic field, and they're using these HAARP technologies, HAARP. Up in Alaska, there's different ones. They're screwing up the Akashic records. They're screwing that up. I mean, they're fragmenting it with all that wavelengths. So that accessing of our psychic internet is there. We have all the stored up of since the beginning of mankind. It's all that information's in that Akashic records. It's all like there. And you just need to gain access by having, yourself being detoxed and praying, and you can access it yourself. And then you can certainly speak to God when you're clear of thought, clear of mind. If you pray and you're not clear of thought, clear of mind, it is said in the Bible and in other holy texts, because people get upset, believe it or not. I just mentioned a Bible and they go, "What is this?" I'm like, whoa. But the Holy Spirit understands you, even if it hears you speaking in groans in tongues. Like, it understands, the impressions of what you're praying for. So you like it understands, right? So what I'm saying is that it's important, and try to do it every day. I think I said it all. So I was talking about that, and it's really neat to have now the thumb prayer, because I could have it in my pocket at work. And what I was going to tell you is that when let's say I'm waiting for the water fountain, I'm going to get water, or if, for instance, or if I'm going to walk somewhere, I could say a prayer. I could say Hail Marys and Our Fathers, or I could use it for a mantra, whatever I want. And it's kind of neat to be reconnected that way, where normally you wouldn't think to be reconnected. So keeping some beads on you is kind of neat sometimes, and remember to go through it and pray and do meditation, because it's helpful. It's like when you go to gym. So it's gym for your soul. So every second that you're in the gym working out, we used to say, extend your life 3 seconds. So how neat is that? So I'm not saying prayer is going to extend your life, but it could. lower your heart rate. Be good. It's good for you as well in meditation. But it's something that the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. People who meditate, they say, have better lives, and they have the ability to access more of their brain, and they have the ability to access more joy and more happiness than people who don't meditate and pray. So, reading holy texts as well will activate parts in your brain that correlate with that. So it's important to get that part of your brain functioning, to get on that quote unquote higher frequency. So all that is good. So how are you gonna, it's the people who you see miracles if you have the ability to see miracles. So the people, like Einstein said, he talked about that. This is Einstein, right? You don't have to respect me, but obviously people respect Einstein, genius. So if you see, and I'm paraphrasing, but those who have eyes will see. So you're not going to see miracles if you don't have that part of your brain working. Like people talk about the third eye, and how the third eye, your third eye's not open. But I'm talking about how the brain functionality, if you're not praying, if you're not meditating, if you're not doing all this stuff, and then people go around and say, oh, I don't believe in that. Well, maybe you can't believe. Maybe you physically are handicapped. That's a dramatic thing, so I pause there. Maybe you're physically handicapped. Maybe you're mentally handicapped. There was that Tom Cruise movie where he keeps reliving like Groundhog Day, the same day over and over, and there's aliens that invade. And he says to the general, he finally just kind of loses it with this general who has something, and he says, you're not mentally equipped to win this war. And the general ends up giving him what he needs, and it was pretty dramatic. So you can be mentally equipped to win the war, and there is a war going on between good and evil, but you have to use the tools that you're given. You have weapons at your disposal, and I think it's important that everybody uses those weapons that you have, and these are part of that arsenal. These are the bullets in the gun. So we have to bring up, the armor is the armor of righteousness, and the bullets are the prayers and meditations that we do. And we can't forget to load up. Okay? So the armor is in righteousness, is telling the truth and going back and finding forgiveness of sins. And these are the bullets, gang. These are the bullets, boys and girls, right here. So every morning, you gotta load up your gun. Every night before you go to bed, same thing. Load up that gun. Load up that gun, Pass the ammunition. That's it. So I just thought I'd leave with that. Like, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'd like to hear if you got something out of this. Thanks a lot. I have a big talk I'm doing on the 19th in New York. It's on my website. If you can make it, that'd be awesome. Like, subscribe, share. Signing out. Bye-bye.